Across Africa, there are places where the water runs still and no one goes near. Not because of the current, not because of the depth, but because of what's said to be waiting underneath. For centuries, entire communities have built their lives around avoiding certain rivers, certain caves, certain waterfalls, not out of superstition alone, but because too many people who went anyway never came back to explain what they saw. A spirit small enough to hide under your bed, a bird that kills with lightning, and a serpent so massive, local fishermen still refuse to fish certain waters. Generations later, these are the mythical creatures of Africa that might have really existed. And at the very end, we'll uncover the ones so powerful, the myths say the gods themselves had to tear it in two, because whole, it should not have been possible to stop. In Zulu households across southern Africa, there's a strange tradition that still continues today. Beds, raised up on bricks. Not for style, not for comfort. To stay out of reach of something small enough to hide in the dark beneath you. They call it the tokoloshe. A short, goblin-like spirit, sometimes said to be invisible, summoned by a witch doctor to torment an enemy. Once summoned, it doesn't just frighten. It creeps into homes at night, causes sickness, chaos, sometimes death. And it's said to only be visible to the one it's come for, which means you could be sitting right next to someone and never know the Tokoloshi was in the room. Skeptics call it folklore, a way to explain sudden illness before modern medicine could. But the tradition of raising beds on bricks, that's not ancient history. That's still happening in homes today. Some researchers argue it's practical. Raised beds once helped avoid smoke and carbon monoxide from indoor fires. But ask the families who still do it why, and most won't mention carbon monoxide at all. The Tokolosha hides in shadows in homes. But not every creature in African legend stays hidden. Some announce themselves with the sky itself. A bird said to command the lightning, its name, the Impundulu. In Xhosa and Zulu tradition, witches don't just cast curses. Some are said to keep servants. A bird with feathers black and white that can shift in an instant into human form. They call it the Impundulu, the lightning bird. Legends say every beat of its wings creates thunder, and wherever it lands, lightning follows. But it doesn't just control storms, it drinks blood. And when someone falls suddenly ill, with no explanation, some communities still say the same thing. An Impundulu has been sent. The creature is said to be almost impossible to kill for good. Trap it, burn it, bury it. Legends say it can still return, passed down from mother to daughter for generations. Scientists point to real storms rolling in off the coast, met with superstition instead of meteorology. But that doesn't explain why the fear hasn't faded, even now. Maybe because in places far from the nearest hospital, sudden death still needs an explanation, and the sky still answers with lightning. But while the Impundulu strikes from above, another creature was said to guard the swamps below. One so feared, seeing it was considered a death sentence, the Ninki Nanka. In the mangrove swamps of Gambia, Senegal, and Guinea-Bissau, there's a warning parents still give their children. Never go near the water alone, because something lives in there, something locals call the Ninki Nanka, described as massive, reptilian, sometimes with the glowing eyes of a dragon. Some say its scales gleam like armor. Others describe something closer to a horned serpent, dragging itself through the mud. But every version of the story agrees on one thing. If you see the Ninki Nanka, you don't get to describe what it looked like. You die, or you go mad, within days. For generations, expeditions have gone looking for it anyway. Very few claim to have found anything. none have come back with proof. Some researchers believe the legend grew from sightings of unusually large Nile monitor lizards or pythons far bigger than typical for the region. But locals point out something the researchers can't explain. Monitor lizards don't come with a body count attached to their name. To this day, fishermen in the region still avoid certain channels after dark, not because of the current, because of what might be watching from it. The Ninki Nanka hides in still water, but near one of southern Africa's most famous waterfalls, something else is said to summon storms from beneath the surface. At Howick Falls, in South Africa, water drops nearly 100 meters into a churning pool below. Locals say that pool is home to something enormous. They call it the Inkanyamba, a giant, eel-like serpent with the head of a horse, said to live in the deepest pools beneath the region's waterfalls. For the Zulu people, the Inkanyamba isn't just a monster. It's a force of nature, tied directly to storms. When it grows restless, tornadoes follow. And this isn't only old folklore. KwaZulu-Natal happens to be one of the only tornado-prone regions in southern Africa. When violent, unexplained storms tear through the area, even today, some still say the same name. Meteorologists point to a rare mix of geography and air pressure. The Zulu elders point to the pool at the bottom of the falls. So which is it? Weather patterns or something older reacting to being disturbed? Traditional healers still perform rituals at these waterfalls to keep the Inkanyamba calm. Not as a formality, as a precaution. Water spirits, lightning birds, swamp serpents no one survives seeing, but not everything in these stories waits in the water. Off the coast of Tanzania, on the island of Zanzibar, something else comes at night. And when it does, entire villages stay awake until morning. On the island of Pemba, part of the Zanzibar archipelago, there have been nights when almost no one slept, not because of noise, because of fear. They call it Popobawa, Swahili for batwing. Witnesses describe a shape-shifting spirit, sometimes taking human form, sometimes appearing as a massive, one-eyed bat-winged creature, with the smell of sulfur trailing behind it. It attacks at night and vanishes before dawn. The first major wave of reported attacks came in the 1960s, but it didn't stay in the past. Reports resurfaced in the 70s, again in the 90s, again in 2007. Each time, entire communities responded the same way, sleeping outside, in groups, rather than alone indoors. So what was it? Mass hysteria, spreading through fear alone? A shared panic, passed from village to village. Psychologists point to sleep paralysis, a real phenomenon where the mind wakes before the body can move, often paired with a genuine sense of a presence in the room. It's a compelling explanation. It just doesn't explain why the waves of sightings map so precisely onto specific villages in specific years. To this day, bringing up Popobawa by name in parts of Zanzibar isn't treated as a joke. It's treated as a warning. Spirits that visit in the night, birds that summon lightning, serpents no one survives seeing. Every creature so far was said to be dangerous, but according to the oldest legend of all, one of them was never even supposed to exist, because the gods made a mistake. Before there were elephants, before there were snakes, legends from South Africa say there was only one creature, something the gods built and immediately regretted. They called it the Grootslang, Afrikaans for great serpent. The myth says the gods gave it the strength and memory of an elephant and the cunning and venom of a snake. It was never supposed to be that powerful. Realizing their mistake, they tried to split it in two, creating the first elephants and the first snakes to weaken what they'd made. But the legend says one Grootslang escaped the split, whole, untouched. Exactly as powerful as the gods had feared. Where did it go? Locals point to a cave near the Richtersveld, sometimes called the Wonder Hole. Said to be lined with diamonds the creature has spent centuries hoarding. Over the decades, treasure hunters have gone looking for that cave. Several are recorded as having entered. Considerably fewer are recorded as having come back out. Geologists say the region's caves are simply unstable, prone to collapse, easy to get lost in, hard to survive alone. That would explain missing hunters. It doesn't explain the reports of something enormous, moving in the dark, just beyond the torchlight. No photograph exists. No skeleton has ever been found. Only a cave nobody has fully mapped, and a legend that refuses to end quietly. Because if the gods really did fear what they created, maybe the smartest thing any of us can do is stop looking for it